So I'm back in Canada again after 5 months in the Philippines. I needed to do this so I can get my pension subsidized to help support my family. I'm still fighting for this. Still, increasing my pension started out as a simple process but has turned into a long, lengthy ordeal due to mostly an inefficient government administration. Canada may be considered one of the best countries to live in, but not for its government efficiency. The paper-based developing country of the Philippines has a far better system than Canada, and I don't say that lightly. Now, to support my family, I needed to make some changes because my pension that I'm getting is less than $800 a month living as a non-resident in the Philippines. So to fix that, all I needed to do was come back to Canada, declare myself a permanent resident again, and I could get my full pension. After that, I can apply for the GIS, known as the Guaranteed Income Supplement. It's for poor seniors who make less than $22,000 a year. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. After coming back, I needed to have an actual address in Canada to be able to make that change. I reached out to my 3 children to see if they could help me. They couldn't, and all had good reasons not for doing it. And it all boils down to their fear of some sort of retribution from the government. All right, I'm not going to hold it against them. So I called my 83-year-old mother and told her I would not be coming out to visit her because I had to go to some homeless government-funded soup kitchen, a half-day's bus drive to Calgary, where I could register their location as my residential address. My mother said, to hell with the government. Come and stay with me and sort it out. Okay, that's what I did, but my story doesn't end there. As soon as I was settled into my mother's home, I went to Service Canada and filled out all the necessary forms. Everything was mailed out by the Service Canada office. The Government of Canada does not send email or call you unless you owe them money. So it took almost 2 months for the government to get back to me via snail mail to tell me I cannot process my non-residence papers because I did not file my taxes, which was not true. I called up the tax department. I told them I did my taxes in the Philippines, sent them to my daughter to be mailed. She did that by registered mail, and someone at the tax department signed for it. The agent put me on hold and then came back on to tell me that they don't have it and I would have to file again. Now, if you are classified as a non-resident in Canada, you cannot file your taxes online. Filipinos living in other countries have it easy. They can file their taxes online. But Canadians living in another country, no. You have to throw it in a mailbox, pay a courier, or find a company in Canada to file your taxes. In the Philippines, if I sent it by regular mail, it may take up to 3 months to get there, if it gets there at all. Now, sending mail from the Philippines is $300 or more via FedEx. Having a company in Canada would cost pretty much the same. Anyway, so they can't find my taxes. I filed again and sent it in by registered mail and waited for a reply. As a result, my GIS application was on hold until my taxes got taken care of. The tax department, however, sent me back a letter 6 weeks later stating they needed my wife to sign one of my tax documents. So I got that done right away, popped it in the mailbox. Another 6 weeks goes by and I get a letter telling me that I need proof of my address, assets, and banking. Apparently, if you're born in Canada, are poor, homeless, jobless, don't own furniture or property, you could at any time be considered a non-resident just so the government can take 20% or more off your next pension check. Okay, I'm being sarcastic here. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I could be giving them ideas. Anyway, I filled out the form, sent it back to them. After doing that, I called Service Canada to tell them that I just found out that my taxes had been completed and wanted to find out the status of my GIS. They weren't sure. I was told they would escalate the situations since it was almost 6 months since I applied. What else could I do? A week later, I'm on the plane heading back to the Philippines for another 5 months. After 6 weeks there, my sister in Canada opens my mail to tell me I'm classified as a Canadian resident. Hallelujah. The bad news? Service Canada wants proof of when I left for the Philippines, in which I would be classified as a non-resident, and wants to see when I arrive back in Canada. Now, one would assume that they would already have somewhat of an idea of when I arrive back, since I had to fill out all the documents at one of their offices, and they mailed it in. It's also important to note that the application of declaring yourself as a resident in Canada is not online and is found only at their office. Nope, they wanted me to show them copies of my passport. The Philippines nor Canada stamp your passport when you leave the country. Canadians arriving in Canada don't get their passport stamped. The only stamp I have is arriving in the Philippines. Add to that, Service Canada is asking for both notarized flight tickets and passport photos. That's a total cost of $260 worth of notarized documents in Canada, and maybe more if I had to send them from the Philippines. Do I want to spend my monthly pension on that? I sent them a letter stating I was back in the Philippines, explaining the situation with regards to what they were asking. Besides, the last time I sent a notarized document from the Philippines to a Canadian bank, they would not accept it, even though it was from a lawyer working from the Canadian consulate in the Philippines, and I had to pay $220 to FedEx those documents. So fast forward to today, I have been back in Canada now 13 days. It has been almost 4 months since my last correspondence with Service Canada, so I called them asking for an update on my situation. I was told they hadn't gotten to my file yet. They told me to call back again in 5 days and they would escalate it. I waited 6 days and called them. They told me that Service Canada is making changes to the system and to call them back in another 5 days and they would escalate my file. Okay, the word escalate is starting to sound more like a profanity to me now than a promise. Okay, so most of you probably don't know this, but Canada is now in the midst of another potential postal strike. So I expect this process to drag on even longer, and I suspect I will be back in the Philippines before this is even resolved. So as frustrating as all this is, I will continue to see this through. I don't consider myself to be poor or broke. I'm resourceful and a survivor. Don't believe me? Well, I have created for you a free 13-page PDF of discounts tailored for folks in the US, Canada, UK, and Australia from everyday grocery services and travel. So if you are a senior or you know someone who is, grab the link below. If you like the video, give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Bye.